Hi, everyone. So here we are at the top 200 for the Rolling Stones 500 greatest albums of all time. And as I've mentioned before, they're just throwing in all of these different genres, and it's it's kind of silly, and you do have to shake your head sometimes with some of these rankings. But let's go through it, and I'm really looking forward to tomorrow, the top 100. I haven't peeked yet to see what the top 10 are, but something will probably make me very, very upset. And I just also wanted to mention yesterday on my other channel, I posted a video of Yoko Ono. My buddy Grant's Rock Warehouse took the time to listen to a Yoko Ono album. He actually bought it. And so please, I'll have the link below or up here somewhere. So please check it out and, check out what he thinks of the album. Here we go. Okay, 200. I've never owned Sade. Is that how you pronounce it? Sade. That's it. I don't want somebody making fun of me. Pavement. I've heard of Pavement. Maybe heard a little bit of their music, but the B-52s, they are mentioned in that Yoko Ono video on my other channel. I bought that when it came out. I didn't love everything on that album, but of course Rock Lobster was awesome and still is today. No Beatles album should be that low, at least for me. And so, of course, in Canada, it was called Meet the Beatles, and then Beatlemania in big lettering. And of course, Meet the Beatles in the US and With the Beatles in the UK. Gets kind of confusing. Never heard of Robin. So this album is better than Meet the Beatles. Okay. Leonard Cohen. Yeah, I like him. I've never owned any of his albums, but anything I've heard by him, I've really liked. Michael Jackson, Bad. I think that's too low. I bought that when it came out. Of course, I was a big fan of Thriller. It might have been a tad, how can you, it's hard to follow up Thriller, but actually I think Bad overall might be even a little better than Thriller. And my favorite Michael Jackson song is on that, The Way You Make Me Feel. Yeah, Man in the Mirror, I Just Can't Stop Loving You, Bad, lots of great songs. Yes, love this album, Willie and the Poor Boys. I owned that when it came out, bought it on vinyl. Yeah, I like the Beastie Boys. Etta James at Last. As I've mentioned before, I'm going to be interviewing Brian May, who is Paul McCartney's guitarist, on my Canadian Studmuffin channel in May. And when he was younger, early 20s, I think it was 21, he was the band leader for 12 years with Etta James. So I'm going to obviously talk about his time with her also. Definitely needs to be on the list. The Who, Tommy. I think that might be a little low. Never heard Sleep. Well, is that one of the ones that Morris Gautreaux? I've done so many reactions on Patreon, but it sounds familiar, so maybe I've listened to at least one song by them. T-Rex. My favorite is The Slider, but Electric Warrior is great too. Love that album cover too. So, yeah, like, there, nothing against Ice Cube. I respect all the artists, I really do. Well, except for maybe one or two. But Ice Cube ahead of any Beatles album? I don't know. Red Hot Chili Peppers, very talented band, just never bought any of their albums. I have Baker's Banquet, great album, kind of disturbing album cover though. Cyndi Lauper, yeah, very talented artist. She's so unusual. I bought that on vinyl when it came out. I bought her first 3 albums back in the day. D'Angelo, I've never heard of. The great James Taylor. Yeah, I was on a James Taylor kick when he released JT, which features Handyman, and then the follow-up Flag, which I really loved. And then the one after that, I think it was called Dad Loves His Work or something like that. I was really disappointed in, and then I kind of stopped buying his albums. But great talent. Bob Dylan, yeah, bringing it all back home, great album. Forever Changes, I have that, great album. The Notorious B.I.G., never heard. Life After Death, yeah. Otis Redding, Otis Blue. Otis Redding Sings Soul. Ooh, that would be a good one. I love early Rod Stewart. And I even respect, some of his later songs. When he some people think he's sold out. Maybe he did, but he's still a great artist. Although my favorite Rod Stewart albums are Gasoline Alley, and my favorite is Never a Dull Moment. But Every Picture Tells a Story is great too. Fear of a Black Planet, I know that's one of Ron Mayle of Sparks' favorite albums. Yeah, I've never heard it though. Kendrick Lamar. I know some people have said, oh, you should check him out. He's good. I will. I'll try. Never got into Jimmy Cliff. Reggae. I owned that when it came out. And then, of course, what happened with Kurt. I remember walking into a grocery store with my oldest son, who was about maybe 10 at the time, and seeing the newspaper heading. And it was pretty upsetting. And so, like I said, I bought that on vinyl when it came out, and it's just hard for me to listen to. But I'd like to have it on CD someday. Yeah, I love Simon and Garfunkel, although that is too low. Sonic Youth, I've heard just a little bit of their music. Taylor Swift, Folklore. Do you think it should be at 170? Let me know. I've never heard it. I used to buy Billy Joel albums. I think that was the first one that I bought. I don't have any Billy Joel albums now, though. Never really got into Steely Dan, although I do love some of their songs. Never got into Depeche Mode. Although I did buy that on vinyl when it came out. I was trying to be hip. Yeah, see, these greatest hits albums should not be included in the rankings. REM, I love REM. Murmur. I've never owned that. Automatic for the People is my favorite REM album that I've heard. The great Johnny Cash at Folsom Prison. See, once again, should that be included in the greatest albums of all time? When it's various artists? But I don't mind some of that, like the Bee Gees songs. They're great. Pulp, I did some reactions on Patreon, a couple of their songs. I really like them. Just never owned any of their music. I have that. That is a great album. Pearl Jam. I thought 10 was good, but I liked their later albums like Versus and Vitology a lot more. I had that on vinyl, but nothing on CD. I'm not really that big of a Police fan. Nope. Nope. No interest. I've heard the Replacements. I like them, but never owned any of their music. Jay-Z. Nope. Aretha Franklin. Nope. PJ Harvey. I've heard a bit of her music, but great debut album, which I have on CD, The Pretenders. The very talented George Michael. Never bought any of his music, though. I might have had that on vinyl, because like I said, I used to disc jockey. I had that on vinyl. Very good album. My favorite, though, is Tunnel of Love. The great John Prine. Never owned any of his music, though. Frank Ocean. No. Yeah. I've heard this album. Really impressive. And his dad, Tim Buckley, I've been checking out his dad's music on Spotify. Even his first album from 1965, I was really impressed with. Yep, had that on vinyl. I love Blondie. I did own some Eminem albums, but not that one. Ooh, that should be higher in the list. It's my favorite Led Zeppelin album. I love the Velvet Underground, as I've mentioned before. I had that on vinyl. Born in the USA. I had that on CD at one point, but I just never listened to it that much. But I did enjoy it. Yeah, Debaser is awesome. And Here Comes Your Man. Never owned any Bob Marley. I love early Black Sabbath with Ozzy. That's a great album. I had that. But once again, it's a greatest hits collection. Rolling Stone, I Should Slap Your Face. Adele, very talented artist. Never bought her music. I've heard this, but never owned any Funkadelic. Love that album cover. Yes, I was into U2 for many, many years. The Joshua Tree, my favorite album of theirs is Uptown Baby. Nope, never owned that. Yes, I've heard that. The great Joni Mitchell. My favorite is Court and Spark. I was trying to remember the name of it. Yeah. The great Hank Williams. But not his greatest hits, Rolling Stone. Nope. I had that on vinyl. Yeah. I was buying Prince albums back in the day. I don't have anything on CD, though. Yep, have that on CD. It's not one of my favorites of Pink Floyd, but still, it is a great album overall. Yes, I'm really getting back in. Like, I've got all of the Queen albums. I might be doing a video on my Canadian Studmuffin channel very soon about Queen. Ray Charles, that'd be cool to hear. My Life, nope. Beastie Boys, have you never heard that full album? Yeah, my favorite U2 album. Yes, like that should be higher, I think. That should definitely be higher. If it was, I guess if it was a rock-based top 500. But it's so stupid having all of these different genres mixed together. Nine Inch Nails I've never gotten into. Yes, I love Elvis Costello and have that on CD. I have that on CD. My favorite is Astral Weeks. I don't have that, but I've got their double CD of greatest hits and Life. Love Sly and the Family Stone. Never a big fan of the Eagles, although, of course, they're very talented and lots of great songs, but they just don't hold my interest. Kanye West. The Cure. I was into The Cure. Yeah. My favorite song by them is End. Kendrick Lamar. The Strokes. I've heard some of their music. I liked it. I bit my tongue. The Smiths. The Queen is Dead. My favorite Smiths album, but I don't have it on CD. I've had that on vinyl. Love it. I think I had that on vinyl for disc jockeying. I like some of her music. Yeah, there it is. Cord and Spark. My favorite Joni Mitchell album that I've heard. Not my favorite Lou Reed album. I think it's kind of overrated. There's many, many more that I love more, but I have everything by Lou Reed. My favorites are Berlin. Ecstasy is great. The Bells. I love the Bells. Fiona Apple with a really, really long album title. Never really heard. I had that on vinyl. That was a good album. I actually love this album. I'm not a big fan of her, but I had that on vinyl. I loved it. Yeah, I never really got into the Allman Brothers. I've heard this album, but it's just not my thing, man. I have that on CD. My favorite Rolling Stones album, De La Soul. I listened to this. It was an album request on Patreon a few months ago for Pal. And it was really good. I think I gave it at least a B+. It might have been an A-. The Clash. I love The Clash. My favorite album of theirs is Sandinista. And 101 is... I think I've heard of this album. Yeah. My favorite, though, Physical Graffiti, but their debut album is one of the greatest debut albums ever. And that is too low in the list, if it was rock-based, I guess. So that's it. Stay tuned for the grand finale tomorrow. I might even film it today because I'm all excited. So thanks for watching. Please remember to leave a comment below and like the video. And make sure you're subscribed and check out my Yoko Ono review on my Canadian Studmuffin channel. Bye.